on if she one of your children.
I answered your crazy question. Yes. And
there's nothing crazy about it. Here's why it's not crazy. I demonstrated to you that just in lieu of you having people who are not a biological parent inside of the household, right, the chances of a child getting hurt or injured by this other person who's not a biological parent drastically go up. I can give you all of the data on this if you'd like it. I can link it to you
one more time.
Yes. If it is the case that you live in a household with non-biological parents, your chances of injury drastically increase. Drastically increase. So if the state has custody of you, drastically increase. You have a stepdad, it increases. Stepmom, it increases. And in polygamous homes, where there's multiple wives, the chances of a child getting hurt increase by the non-blooded parent. They increase. That is in fact, hang on. That is in fact the case when you study polygamy. So the thing is that why it is pertinent is because your chances would increase of one of your wives hurting one of your children that's not one of her biological offspring. So it's pertinent for me to ask, inside of your religion, could you leave her? You said yes. And then you said the only way for you to leave a person or divorce them, separate yourself from them, is actually through fornication. This is a P, not P contradiction. It's a literal P, not P. So you have to reconcile this contradiction. How can you divorce your wife if she murdered one of your children? How can you do that?
Because in the Bible, when David was dancing, he just united he just united all 12 tribes. He dancing on the dance floor, getting busy. And as he dancing, I guess his skirt or his garment or whatever showed a little bit, and the ladies was going wild. And then one of his wives complained about it. And he said, I'll get my glory from them that you did not give me. And he put her up in a tower, turned her into Rumpelstiltskin, never had kids with her, never did anything with her.
Yeah, can you answer my question now?
This is answering your question. So the reason why I can put her away is because of the heinous act in your scenario that she did.
Can you put...
Wait, why can't I finish answering?
Okay, well, how long are you going to filibuster, dude? I just want to get through the questions. The answer is yes, you can, right? You can divorce her?
Yeah, I can.
Absent fornication?
In a normal environment, no. In the absurd environment that you say, no.
What? Can you divorce her or not?
Sorry, I said that wrong. In the absurd environment that you created, yes.
Okay, so then,
environment,
can you divorce her if she diddles one of them?
Yes.
Okay, so
when you say diddle, you talk about another woman, right?
Yeah, a woman's molesting one of your sons. Can you divorce her for that?
Yeah, I don't understand these weird questions right here, man.
They're super pertinent.
You might have been with Epstein.
Yeah, this is not freakish. When you open up by talking about how the Catholic priests molest children, that's perfectly relevant.
Then when you
talk about abuse, but when I talk about abuse and polygyny, that's not relevant. It's like, what are you talking about?
With Epstein.
Whatever. Yeah, okay, yeah, Epstein. So anyway,
Cap, it's relevant. There's answer
questions. Not only is it totally relevant.
Why he can talk about my language, I couldn't read a word, but when I do something to him, you got to say something.
You can attack me.
I was totally fair, Cap.
Look, I don't give a shit. I don't care about any of your insults. I just want the questions answered. So it's the case then that you can divorce outside of fornication, outside of your wife cheating with another man.
Your Epstein-minded view, I would not stay with anybody that's less than a kid, that's unaliving a kid.
Yeah.
Nor would they be a part of our community, because you cannot molest kids and be amongst us.
Yeah, but like, that's so stupid. There's no way for you to notate that to know that this will be the case or not the case. If you had like 6 wives and they all lived in a household with you, right? One of them could kill feasibly one of your other children. They could do that. They could just have postpartum depression and drown them. Just drown them in a tub. They get angry one day and do that. Like, that shit happens. It's not a joke. I don't know why you think that this is Epstein Island conspiratorial tinfoil hat stuff. That could happen. And if it does, I just want you to say that, yes, You can leave her for that.
I said it already, though.
Okay, then if that's the case, you're in a performative contradiction because you believe it's only under the idea of fornication that you can leave your wife, and that's it. And yet here you say, no, you can leave her for other extenuating circumstances as well. How about this? Okay, is it the case that if you found out that your wife was robbing everybody else in your family, okay, and was also an addict, could you leave her then?
No.
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 You couldn't leave her then?
No.
No.
I wouldn't. I would fix her.
Okay, and then what if it's the case that you found out that your wife, before you met her, right, had a multitude of sexual partners that you were unaware of and had contracted HIV? Could you leave her then?
I would know that before I got with her.
Yeah, it didn't show up on the tests, the HIV, and she hit her pass. She hit it. She hit it from you.
I get the part about the sex, but how is HIV hidden?
Well, you go down, you get a test. Let's just say you go down to get a test. The HIV doesn't show up on the test for whatever reason. There's some, mistake at the lab, perhaps, something like this. You find out she has HIV. You found out that she had tons of sexual partners before you that she did not disclose to you, and you married her anyway. Can you leave her then?
Yeah, I wouldn't be with her no more.
Okay, yeah, so you can leave her then. So there's all kinds of so there's all sorts of ways in which you can leave your wife even if she's not cheating on you with somebody. So you're just lying. You're lying to us. You're lying to everybody who's listening. You lied about how it is that you're able to separate yourself from your wife. You are caught in a performative contradiction. You lied, sir. And not only that, let's point this out. How could it be the case that polygyny, under this especially, under your idealism of polygyny, how's that going to help the West? How's that actually going to help the West?
When you say under my ideal, can you explain what you mean?
Yeah, whatever you think the rules are when it comes to polygyny. Like, for instance, can your wives have sex with each other?
No.
Can you have sex with them at the same time?
No.
Okay, can you ejaculate halfway in one and then the rest of the way in another?
That's the same. This the Epstein portion of the batter, y'all.
It's a view that he's married to all 30 of those women, right?
Yes.
And he needs to take care of all of those women as though they were his wife, right?
Say what?
And he needs to take care of all those women as though they are his wife, right?
A great manager would.
Okay, yes. So if this is the case, what would be the enforcement arm here to make sure that these men take care of all the women that they have sex with? How would you enforce that in the West?
That's actually a good question. And what I want to say is all of this weird shit that he said from Epstein Island, monogamous people do all the time.
No, monogamous people don't come in one woman and then come in another. They're not monogamous definitionally.
They ejaculate in one, put it in another.
No, they don't. That would be definitionally not monogamy.
Yes, they do.
No, that wouldn't be monogamy.
So now,
but anyway, who cares? Answer the question, please.
Us as Israelites, the way that we teach it. Mm-hmm. America is a cesspool of fornication. Monogamous or polygamous, they don't do it right. That's why he asks me these weird questions. He's asking me these weird questions because there are people like Neo, for example, the entertainer Neo.
You just answer the question, dude.
This is the answer. Why are you all on your feelings, man?
I just want you to answer. How would you enforce this?
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Urcha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to the other elders, you brethren, you fellow believers of this truth. Shalom to you few sisters. Shalom to the elect. So, I want to touch on this video here. It was interesting. And I don't know how the captain got so confused. And, I kind of thought that he would go a little more in depth of the words. And this is what Great Millstone does. We go into words and into understanding. This man, Andrew Wilson, the Edomite, I believe, who is a Christian, I believe. He's trying to say that what would happen according to Western culture. It's not a good idea to have 6 wives crammed under the same roof in Babylon, but all these things, what the captain did say, all these things that we see in monogamy, right? So he said not in a monogamous relationship. Look at the statistics. And this man likes to go on statistics. There's no real such thing as monogamy here in the Western world. If your wife been with other men, right? This is what I say about marriage in the Western world. They'll sleep around with 50 men and decide to get the right man, go to church, get married, put on a white dress. Father gives them away who they already gave themselves away and said, I'm willing to repent and be saved, right? Nothing wrong with repenting, but Christianity has false repentance. They don't teach that marriage is already sex. This is why the women can sleep around and then wait to go to church and get married. This is weird, man. This is weird. So what the captain should have did, let's read Matthew 19. Let's read Matthew 19, was it 19 and 9? Maybe I'll read a little commentary. I say to you, whosoever divorceth his wife, except for sexual immorality, or let me say, except for fornication, and she marry another, committeth adultery. Now, when you go to the scripture, this is what this is particularly talking about because of what he had to say to the Pharisees to bring back according to the law, right? Because they had a lot of sleeping around, right? Like in the church of Corinth, they were putting away their wives for no reason, or they're saying that, they're not a believer, or they're making up something to put the wife away. No, you're not supposed to just throw your wife away. But then Andrew Wilson says, what if she kills? What if she molests? And I don't know why the captain didn't go into that. And by the way, fornication, we're going to go into that word too. I don't know why he just didn't go into the scriptures on that. Let's get I think it's Exodus. Let me see what I got here. Where am I at? Let's go to Romans 13 and 9. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. So right there, if somebody kills the children, right, one of your children, guess what? They've broke a commandment. Thou shalt not kill. And what is the commandment for that? Death. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, I think sometimes you get so much on the defensive end that you don't think outside the spectrum, so to speak, right? Thou shalt not covet. And then what are you talking about with covet? Just like the scriptures say, thou shalt not look at a woman to lust after, or something like that. When you go into the precepts, that's actually talking about looking at another man's wife. Now, I don't agree with having a bunch of multiple women, but there's no law against it. And all he had to do is go back into that story of Eve. If Howard only took one woman, statistics show. Well, I'd have been like, well, who wrote the statistics? What do you mean statistic? It's not enough people in polygamous relationships legally to even have a statistic on that. Like, what the hell? Oh man, this is crazy. I mean, you just can't let a man sit up there and throw statistics at you that there's not even a statistic for. In fact, this society is such against polygamous relationships, they will do anything to make it a statistic, which it's not. Statistics show that polygamous relationships, the opposite parent or a woman always abuses the child. Well, this is why you don't have 10 women in the same house. Also, in a monogamous relationship that you have with your wife, and then you get a divorce in this society, you get another woman, right? And then your children come under the other woman. Isn't there still a chance that stepmom, can bring harm to your child too? Without a polygamous relationship? I mean, it was all kinds of things you could have said to this weird guy, man. I don't know. I didn't watch the rest of it. Maybe the captain to Zaryak did. I don't know. So he brought out Deuteronomy 17. Get more understanding on that too. Let me read the 14th verse. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, right? Thou shalt in any wise set him a king over thee. This is what this is talking about. Remember Paul said, the Lord said, I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Don't do after the other nations. Going back to Solomon, when there's nothing wrong with having the wives, but when you pledge to those other women, right? Whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren, that's the key, shalt thou set king over thee. So he's telling you right there, don't set another nation over you as a king, but one as your brethren. But when it goes on, this is what it's talking about. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother, right? Because you can have a stranger that is thy brother. That's why I said, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply himself horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt. There's nothing wrong with the king having horses, but it was about returning to Egypt, following the ways of the Egyptians, right? To the end that should multiply themselves horses. For as much as the Lord have said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. This is what it's talking about. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Like we see with Solomon, right? When you're going to establish the land. Neither shall he greatly multiply himself silver and gold. Was it wrong for a king to have silver and gold? No. Was it wrong for the king to have wives? No. Was it wrong for him to have horses and cattle? No. But what it is wrong is when you usurp yourself under the authority of another nation and not follow after his way. That's why when you read back, it said, thou shalt not set another king over thee, but one of thy brethren that know the laws. That's what that's talking about. It's not talking about you can't have many wives. You know what I'm saying? Let's get that real quick. The Lord is not an author of confusion. All of a sudden, you can't have wives, but as IUIC says, in that day you will be able to. You just can't flip on and off laws like that. I mean, the Lord can do what he wants, but the Lord ain't set it up like that. Isaiah 4:1, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. This is what it should have been read to him, saying, we will eat our own bread. So this man says, you got to take care of all those women. No, not necessarily. You're taking care of her through your protection. We know this is Western culture, and this is what the Messiah died for. No, there's not a lot of things we're going to be able to do. But if you got a woman in the Queen of Heaven that has a good job, what do you need to take care of her for? Right? She just needs your protection. She needs to be called by you. It says, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, and only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. It was so many things the captain could have said, right? Let's go to the commentary on Matthew 19:9. See, a lot of Matthew 19:9, you got to dig, man. Matthew, you got to dig. You know what I'm saying? You can't just read it straight out like that. You got to go to precepts, look up things, right? This is the Barnes. And I say unto you, in Ephesus should be laid here in the word, the opinion of Jesus. This is proclaimed to the law of the kingdom of the command of God. Ever afterward, indulgence has been given by the laws of Moses, but that indulgence was to cease, and the marriage relationship to be brought back into the original intention, right? And this is not what you're going to get here. It says only one offense was to make divorce lawful. This is the law of God. And by the same law, all marriages which place after divorce, where adultery is not the cause of the divorce, are the adulterous. Legislators have no right to say that people may put their wives away for any other cause. And where they do, and where there is marriage afterwards, by the law of God, such marriages are adulterous. So basically, to get it in a nutshell, this was talking about one particular situation. This wasn't talking about if you slaughter your children or molest your children. And Captain was right on that. What the hell are you thinking like that for, man? You know what I'm saying? So this is talking about a situation where they was finding reasons to get rid of their wives and do the things that they were doing. So this is why he said, but by fornication, according to that faction, right, of adultery. We already know they're supposed to keep the law, Right? This weird stuff, man. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew 19:9. Except be for fornication. Let's look up fornication. Except be for fornication, right? Porneia, right? Like when the children of Israel sold out to the temples and did all the things they did, it wasn't just sex. They committed adultery unto the Lord, right? Then the sexual part comes with it. So a woman could commit adultery spiritually, fornicate against you. You know what I'm saying? Illicit sexual intercourse. It's kind of like if a woman has already decided to go into the hotel and a man start kissing on her neck and she enjoys it. She's already committed a fornication to you in her heart. You know what I'm saying? Adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse, animal acts. That's definition 1, definition 2, and definition 3. Sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman. I don't know where they made that up. That's not in the book of Mark 10 and 11 and 12. Let me go look at that. We look everything up. What does that say? Mark 10. Let's go to Mark 10. Let me come out of here. Let's go to Mark 10, 11, and 12. I'm interested to see what that says. Mark 10 and 11. And he said unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if the woman shall put away her husband, right, and be married to another, she committeth adultery. Right? So it says, in the house of the disciples asked him again in the same manner. And he saith unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife, talking about a man, right, and marry another, committeth adultery against her. Why? Because she done nothing wrong for you to put her away. That's how you commit adultery. You can't put a woman away that she did nothing wrong, right? And if the woman shall put away her husband, meaning not is particularly him, she committed adultery by getting rid of her husband, and he did nothing wrong. And he be married to another, she committed adultery. You see that? It has nothing to do with a man that put away his wife and went and slept with another woman. If the man put away his wife that didn't do anything wrong, he committed adultery against her. And if she said, hey, I don't want him no more and I'm going to go sleep with another woman, another man or woman, then she committed adultery against him. But at the end of the day, it never said that a man couldn't have more than one wife. You got to show me where Yahushua rebuked the man saying, look, you can't have more than one wife. No, you just can't leave your wife and sleep with another woman and she did nothing wrong. You committed adultery against her. Anyway, let's go on down to the other one. It says the worship of idols, of the defilement of idolatry incurred by eating sacrifices offered unto idols. It goes on today. This is it just said that one. This is the root. The prostitution one's body to the lust of another, which we've done to those idols, to be given to idolatry, to worship idols. See, this is another word for fornication. To present oneself to be drawn away by another into adultery, right? Whatever that is. So you go to the law. You know what I'm saying? You go to the law. Revelation 2 and 14. But I have a few things against thee, because thou has there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam and taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel. That's adultery. Well, the children of Israel following it would be adultery. To eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. Right? And that's all the captain had to do, man. Fornication goes to different factions. Right? When you look at whoremongering, fornication, everybody's just stuck on sex. It's bigger than that. In order to get to the sexual act, like if your wife cheated, it wasn't strictly the sexual act. The real deception, believe it or not, comes in her looking at that man saying she wants to be with him. She have already committed adultery. She's already committed fornication. But, you know, white American Christians, and he talks about Western culture, and of course he's against so-called blacks fornicating, having multiple wives. And this man Fugazi, you know, goddamn well, he talks about single mothers, but black women, but he has a so-called white woman. I don't know about what's going on there. But this is man actually preaching neutering in front of this Jake called the Fugazer, right? Right in front of him, insulting him. And he sits there protecting him. Yeah, that's Christianity. The hell with you 2/3, man. You deserve whatever you get. That's all I have on that. Shalom.